Hey there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of the Grateful series. Today we are grateful for our first responders, and in my world that looks like kind of police, ambulance, paramedic, fire. You could stretch it to be like, ER room people, 911 operators and all of that, but I chose to just kind of focus on those ones that come out and meet you in the middle of your crisis. Not the ones where you actually go to them. I guess. I don't know. I didn't really have a parameter around it when I did the layout. But what I did find was a photo of one of my son's very good friend. It's one of his best friends. He is a paramedic, and he does work for our county paramedic 911 dispatch. And so I have a photo of him on there, but I'm not making it like the center of attention. It's there, but it's kind of subtle. And that's not because I don't think he is worth being the center of attention, but I didn't want it to be just about him. I wanted it to be about our, just our first responders in general and him. So I wanted to kind of highlight both. And so I actually went over to Creative Fabrica and I pulled some printables. These are from 3 different sets, maybe 4 different sets. So there's a fire set, an ambulance set. Well, actually, I believe the ambulance set is actually a doctor set. There's a police set. And then I am also going to pull a paramedic's bag, which is its own little file. And so I'll put links to everything down below that I'm using today. But I really like the way that it came out. I know they're kind of childlike looking, and I think that's okay. I really like them. And I didn't really want them to be too serious or realistic looking. I kind of wanted that more childlike nature. And what I am actually documenting is a couple of things. So when my son was young, he had horrible ear infections that we didn't know that his ears were the cause of it, but until much later. But he would have febrile seizures, and which is basically a fever that's brought on or a seizure that's brought on by a fever. And we didn't know why he was having them, because he'd be playing fine, and then like in 15 minutes he'd have a high fever and he'd have a seizure, and we weren't really 100% sure. And he had some abnormal ones, which is cause for a little bit more concern, so we had a lot of testing done. But at one point he was in the acute care, and the doctor was working on him, and he had a seizure that was just localized to part of his face, and he stopped breathing. And the doctor's office actually called 911. And I got to tell you, that's like the scariest thing ever. When the doctor's office is calling 911, yeah, it's kind of frightening. So anyway, they did get him breathing before the ambulance got there, but the paramedic that was there told me that the seizure was basically the body's way of trying to reset its temperature gauge. And it gave me a lot of like insight into what his body was actually trying to do, and it really was helpful and made a lot of sense. And rather than not knowing what was going on, it kind of explained things. So it was much more calming than anything. And we've had several different other events where we've had to call ambulances over the years for different things, sicknesses, broken bones, whatever. But that one really sticks out in my mind. So I did write a little bit about that. And then I also wrote about how grateful we are for Kyle, my son's friend, and that he has taken on this job, because it really does take a special kind of person to be calm in the face of all of the tragedy and all of the chaos and frightening things that are going on when you actually do have to call somebody for help. So that's what I documented, and it's all going on that tag that I made a little pocket for behind that fire truck. And I kind of had everything a little bit too low on the page for my liking, because there was a lot of space up top. So I decided to add this kind of zigzaggy looking washi tape. It's like a thin washi tape that's metallic, and with the black paper. And I think it looks really good. It kind of finishes off the layout nicely. I also have a strip across the bottom to kind of tie it together, and I'm really liking the way that it looks. And so I decided to add an additional piece across the tag, the top of the tag there, just to kind of finish that off. And then I will do my journaling and add a little bit of fiber to the top of the tag so that it can be pulled out and it's easily visible, and so that the tag actually is not like have a naked hole if you are into that thing. You know, you don't want you want something in that hole, whether it's like an enamel dot or something. At least I do. Anyway, so that is what I decided to document. So don't forget to go and check out what MK is documenting today. I can't wait to see. I know she lives in a different type of community than I do. I live in a large city, so community here is very different than the community of a small town. In fact, my husband and I were just talking about this, and when you're in a big city, there's a lot of anonymity. You know, you don't always know all your neighbors. You don't always know the people at the grocery store, whatever. But when you live in a small town, you do know all of those things. And so it's a lot different than even up by our cabin, which is a tiny town. We know people up there that, you know, even though we're not up there all the time, there's more community up there than there is in our hometown, which is a big city. So I'm just finishing this off with some black ink splatter, and that's just some dilutions in black. And that is pretty much going to do it for this layout. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we are almost to the end of this series, so come back again on Tuesday and we'll have another layout for you. And if you have questions or comments, remember you can always leave those down below. I will get back to you. It may not be the same day or even within the few days, but I do read them all and I do respond to every single one of them in one way or another. Thanks again for watching. And don't forget to go and check out what MK has for you today as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys again on Tuesday.